Greetings, patrons, and welcome back to Geekvolution After Dark. I am Captain Logan.
And I am Eric.
And we join you once again to talk to you for a full hour, and possibly slightly longer, about whatever crazy random crap turns out to be in our phones.
Did we run longer last time? We didn't run longer last time.
And I think every one of these just ran over an hour.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but not like a whole lot more. You know, we were actually paying attention to the time. Usually we have a topic that we really want to fill out. Remember the first episode? You were like, "Well, shit, we have to keep talking about that."
Yep.
What is wrong with you? 5 minutes before the end, and you bring this up?
Yep.
How dare you? So anyway, Eric and I are sitting here drinking like wussy ass wine coolers. This is Bartles and James. This is a fuzzy navel.
Do you know why I was attracted to the Bartles and James? We were looking for some alcohol.
Right, and this is like barely alcoholic, but I felt like pineapple stuff, so I got this. I've had this before.
There's a Mountain Goat song where he talks about like certain alcohols he's drinking, and one of them was Bartles and James. And I was like, hey, I know that name, Bartles and James.
Oh, okay. I mean, they probably make stronger stuff than this, but I used to drink these a lot when I was at the mortuary. Mm-hmm. When I first started, when I was old enough to start drinking alcohol.
When you started boozing?
Yeah, right,
That's one of my favorite things Dan Torrey ever said to us. You guys boozing?
I forgot all about that. Yeah. So anyway, and Dan Torrey will be on one of these in the not too distant future. So
True.
Look forward to that. Probably the very next one.
Am I right?
It would have to be. Yeah. So episode 5 of this, we'll see Dan Torrey. Wow, this is the 4th of these. I can't believe we've already been doing these this long. So this is our second month. Yep. We're into the end of our second month. And folks, we want to say thanks a lot for keeping this going and. Obviously, helping us out with the channel, supporting us, encouraging us. We really appreciate it. And we've had so much fun making the show. This is like one of, if not the biggest thing that Eric and I, at least in the stuff that we do together, most look forward to.
Yeah.
And you guys have made it very much worth our while, so thanks a bunch. We appreciate it. So now I'm going to stop gushing, and we're going to start talking about random shit in our phones. We should do a show like that where just whatever random things are on our phones. You know, like you just press a button. Oh, today we're talking about my Power Rangers game because that's in my phone.
You're gonna have a lot of like weird I guess today we're talking about Vampire D. What do you have to talk about Vampire D? You want to talk about Guillermo del Toro? Let's talk about Guillermo del Toro.
We already talked about your gun emoji. We already did that. We can't talk about that anymore. We already did that. Unless at some point you have like a gun emoji part 2, which would not surprise me because oh my god, you had so much to say about the gun emoji.
Do you want to talk about the new interview Shane Black did? Man, I should have an alert for Shane Black on my phone.
You should.
How often I look up Shane Black.
Yeah, that's true.
Just to see if he's done a new interview or something.
See, I'm such an old fogey with things like that where I don't think to do alerts and stuff.
I've never done it. I don't know how to do it.
I used to have Twitter alerts and that got useless. Because things would just come up that weren't relevant enough, and the same thing would come up 100 times, and that would get irritating. I'm sure there's ways to streamline that, and I just don't know. But I'm not great at the social media thing. I discovered I asked. So we have a new intern now. His name is Alden, and Alden and I were touching base today and figuring out what he's going to be doing for me. And he's a great guy. I can't wait for you guys to meet him. You probably will have by now when this goes up. And he's one of our patrons too. And Alden had to explain to me what. It's not Snapchat. It's the other picture thing.
Is there another one?
Where it's just pictures and I can't even think of the goddamn name of it now. Where it's like people use it more than Twitter. A lot of people and they like.
Are you talking about
just
Tinder?
post. No, they post. It's like pictures with hashtags.
And Instagram.
Instagram. Thank you. And he asked me if we should get an Instagram. If there should be a Geekvolution Instagram. He said everybody's got one, we should probably make a Geekvolution Instagram. And I just looked at him and I said, yeah, probably. I said, but you have to fucking tell me what that is because I don't know what Instagram. I don't know how it works. I don't know what it is.
Something with pictures, and that's all I know.
I've never looked at it.
Yeah, I know girls like it.
Even my wife has used it. I know she's a girl, and that's following what you just said. I wasn't expecting you to say that, but Sarah's used it. Anyway, all right. Well, let's go ahead and put an hour on the clock.
All right.
Here we go. 1 hour on the clock, and we're going to begin with Eric and find out what Eric wants to talk about first. Today, what random thing is in your phone, Eric? What are we talking about?
All right. So, I'm going to go with a game.
We're going to play a game first?
Inspired by Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh no.
We're going to play.
No. I'm scared now. Am I going to have to be witty? Is this going to require me to be clever or shit?
We're gonna play F, Marry, Kill.
Oh no, that makes me uncomfortable.
That I told you.
Yeah, they did that. Betty Brant was doing it.
Yep.
She said F Hulk, marry, kill Hulk. It was F Thor, marry Iron Man, kill
Which is
Hulk,
all nonsense. Right? It should always be marry
right?
Hawkeye. I think so. Hawkeye's the guy you marry, clearly.
Well, I don't know who was all in the running. Was it just Avengers? Oh, it was Avengers. Okay. So what are we doing?
I was gonna do.
So I'm gonna help set this up in case people missed the movie or forgotten about that scene.
I was gonna do Avengers, but then I was like, well, there's only 2 girls in the Avengers, so I'm gonna do the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just the movies.
Cinematic?
Yeah.
Or just comics. This would be more fun if we did comics, but okay.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
We could do comics. We could do both. We could do a quick round of both.
But are we talking about just superheroes? Because
no, just the female characters of the films. We'll do just superheroes for the comics. We'll do a round of both.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So F, Marry, Kill Marvel females in the films.
I don't want to have to kill anyone.
Oh, I'll kill someone. I'll kill someone right now.
So just women in that universe. Okay, would you be willing to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. So I'm gonna kill Jane Foster.
Well, that's the obvious go. That's maybe the obvious go-to. Yeah, that's fair. I'm trying to think. Is there any other? Because she's not even annoying. She's just nothing, right? Like I don't hate her. She's just kind of nothing. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'll go with F, Black Widow. Obviously, right? I mean, that's...
Yeah, and I don't want to go to that obvious place myself. I'm going to see if I can go somewhere other place.
And Mary Scarlet Witch.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Mary Scarlet Witch.
Oh, yeah. She seems awesome. That accent really does it for me. She's super hot.
I could imagine being married to Black Widow. Because you never know what you get. You know what I mean? Like, every day, it'd be something different. Yeah.
So what do you
should
got?
be a D20. Like, it's different every time.
Yeah,
every time
absolutely.
You roll it, it's different. Yeah. Okay. And now I almost wish you hadn't gone first because it's hard not to like just go to some of the ones you said. I feel limited in this. There's almost not enough characters.
We'll do the comics next, and we'll see.
Like people that complain that there's not enough, women in those movies, or maybe onto something. Like there's
not enough people to have marry or kill.
Right, we need more people to have marry or kill. That's very important. Okay. Sometimes I say a thing and I think, that's gonna make it into the clip show bit on the channel, and then I worry that I'm accidentally doing like trailer fodder in my own content. Okay, so let me think of chicks in that universe. But that whole universe, right? So that means that you can go to you can go to TV shows and stuff, too.
I guess you could. I was thinking just the movies.
Oh, okay. I'm just thinking, I got continuity.
Okay, so if we're counting TV shows, I'm going to change my F from Black Widow to Misty Knight.
See, that's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
That's where I was going to go. And I would say, and if we can go there, I would say Mary Night Nurse. I think she'd be great. Yeah. She's wonderfully attractive, and she's, the super... responsible person.
Yeah.
You could see starting a family with her.
Yeah.
And then... but I want to go to, somebody for the movie, but then who would I kill? That's... Okay, I'm gonna do one that's just TV then, okay? Because, I did those two, so...
You kill Quake?
Yeah, maybe. And I don't dislike her as much as a lot of other people do, but I got really sick of her. I'd be more likely, although I think she died, but I'd be more likely to probably kill, the leader of the Inhumans. I got real sick of her.
Oh, Medusa? Or was it not Medusa?
No, it was a totally different made-up character. I'm talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
Yeah. I got real sick of that character real fast. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like there's a lot of options. Yeah, but I don't know.
So you're gonna kill her?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's not a great response.
So we'll do comics.
Okay.
We'll do a round of comics.
Yeah, sure.
Kill Jane Foster? No, I don't.
No, Jane Foster's fascinating now.
I don't know. Kill. Who's really annoying me? I feel like.
I feel like girls or people that are into men have this easier. You know what I mean?
Do you? Why?
Because with a lot of fictional things, there's just more options.
I mean, that's fair. There's plenty of options in Marvel. I'm just trying to think of who in all of Marvel.
This would be way easier with Star Trek. I could do that all day long. But yeah.
I'll come back to kill.
Although my kill would be a character in DS9 I don't want to give away yet.
Okay.
I don't want you to know about yet.
Okay.
But yeah, let's see.
F is She-Hulk. We've talked about my weird thing for green women.
You have
right?
a thing for green women.
I have a thing for green women.
You got a Kirk thing going on there.
I really do. I don't know why. The thing in the first 09 Star Trek where he's making out with the green woman, just like dream come true. Like I really have a thing for green women. I don't know what that is. I don't know where that comes from. Okay, so my Mary is gonna be real weird and real telling about like how bad I am at like the kind of women I'm attracted to. I think I'd marry Jessica Jones.
Really?
Yeah. No,
And see, that would maybe be the F for me.
I'm real attracted to like borderline crazy.
See, I always do this, and I'm afraid I'm gonna like forget characters. You know what I mean? Like I'm just sitting here like running through things like, oh, who is everybody? You know, I think my F is, and it's funny because we can swear on this, but I don't want to in this case.
Well, no, because the game was F, Marry, Kill.
Okay,
man.
I think
I'd kill Alondra because fuck her. Like she's useless. She shows up and just causes problems.
No, it's F or kill. Okay, you can't have it both ways. Black costume Spider Woman.
Black costume is who you kill or F?
F.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Specifically.
I was sitting there trying to. It's Jessica something. What is her last name?
Do.
Is it Jessica Drew?
That's traditional. There's like 4 spiders.
I think that is also her, but I'm not positive. I think that costume on a woman is so super sexy, and I like the and I always like the hair coming out at the back, like
yeah. Batgirl's got that.
Yeah. This would almost be easier for DC. Actually, this would be way easier for me for DC. But it would be all Batman characters probably. You know what I mean? Like I would like I'd marry Barbara Gordon all day long.
Oh yeah.
And the F would probably be either Helena Bernelli or Cassandra Cain. One of the two.
Cassandra Cain would be weird.
I know, but
I feel like she'd hurt me and not in good ways.
Well, yeah, but assuming that's off the table, you know, like assuming you got along okay, you know. I would kill the Arrow Huntress. You know, certainly, but yeah, like who's a really annoying woman in Marvel?
See, I have a go-to, and everyone's gonna get angry, so I can't say it.
Oh, you're just not gonna say it?
I mean, I will.
You gonna censor yourself on this show?
Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, people would hate that.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people would.
Also,
hate that.
she's 14, so I don't feel like she's like on the table for the F, Marry, Kill.
No, certainly.
But I was just trying to think of people at Marvel that like really bother me, and I don't like it when they show up. Miss Marvel. But if I'm trying to think of someone. Well, I guess I had Alondra because she.
Oh, that's great.
She just
that's good. Yeah.
She ruins storylines.
I want to say
boring.
Elektra sometimes.
Yeah.
It kind of just depends on like who's writing.
She'll come back.
which I guess. And Typhoid Mary. I never liked Typhoid Mary.
Oh, interesting.
Almost always dislike her in things, but not that I read her in a ton of stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
I've really only read her in Bendis stuff, and Bendis has a real like I get it, she's crazy kind of a thing when I'm reading her with is specifically even his Daredevil run, like the big run, like she's a little bit like that in End of Days, but in his Daredevil run when she shows up, I'm like I get it, she's crazy. But okay, so yeah,
so we did that.
Yeah, we played that game.
All right, well that was fun. What do I want to start with? Okay.
We spent 40 minutes on F, Marry, Kill.
Here's an idea I have had, and I don't know if it's too, like, living in the past. I mean, it is literally living in the past, but I don't know if it's, like, living in the past in a bad way, and if it's too, nostalgic. Because I am a real nostalgic kind of person, and I get crap for that. Or I hear people all the time saying, like nostalgia is bad and you should move on, and I think some of that is, like, I'll get to my premise in a minute, but I think some of that is people pushing against the idea that we have to recycle everything all the time, and I get that. I mean, it's a matter of variety. We certainly aren't we aren't trying enough new things. We're not experimenting enough, and it does seem we do seem to, rely on nostalgia in order to sell things.
I think my biggest problem with nostalgia is that we rely on nostalgia to sell things, and it's done this real shrinking of people's youth down to these are the things we all grew up with.
Yeah.
These are the only things you're allowed to be nostalgic for. And remember, you all love Mario, right?
Yeah.
You all love the 80s music, right? And, like, I feel like...
And then things get lost.
Yeah, and I feel like the things people are genuinely nostalgic for, that are more personal, kind of get lost in the shuffle. And, like, you know...
It's sad because we're in a day and age where it's so easy to find out about stuff that's not mainstream and everybody knows about, and yet people just don't.
When Lucas and Spielberg were making Star Wars and Indiana Jones and that kind of stuff, they were going to the stuff that was real personal to them for their childhood, that some other people also had, but was not universal. It was not the thing that everybody connected to.
Right.
No one does that now. It's just, hey, do you remember the 80s? Like...
I mean, not no one, but they don't tend to be the big tentpoles. And I know we've said this, I probably said this 100 times, but, like, we don't... People will sometimes ask, what do you think this generation's Star Wars will be? Well, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, we and a lot of that is big companies trying to see how long they can milk properties for. That's why we keep bringing things back, and it's a lot of things are just based on the viability already of brand names. But anyway, here's my premise.
Terrifyingly, we don't have a Star Wars or an Indiana Jones or a Jaws.
Yeah,
we don't have anything that's a new idea that isn't based on something. Well, I guess Jaws is based on something.
I have always wanted to do, and I wanted to ask you if you think this is a bad idea or not, because I am so fascinated with the idea of time periods as places you can never get back to. Mm-hmm. I'm obsessed with this notion. Mm-hmm. I would like to pick a year and hole myself up in my house and only go back and experience things from that year for a week. Something I've always wanted to do.
That's interesting.
I think it would be fascinating.
You know, it's interesting because I've also been kind of on about in my head the idea of that you can't go back to a time period.
Yeah.
Because
and
I really don't like now so much. I've spent a lot of time recently thinking about like the 90s and the 80s and the 70s. I just
wish I could go, and I know that annoys some people. They're like, oh, you're too nostalgic for a time period, and the implication there is that you think that time period was perfect, which I never profess.
No, but
I'm not.
All three of those decades were better.
But
I think.
But for you, where
sure.
where you feel like, and I have this with some things too, where you feel like a particular time period at least is more tolerable, or it was simpler, and you felt like you fit in a way that maybe sometimes you don't feel like you fit into now. Where sometimes I feel like the world's passing me by a little bit with certain things. I feel that way with social media, as I suggested earlier. I feel that way sometimes with a lot of cultural things. And some of this is just getting older, and I realize that.
Do you think part of that is the nostalgia thing? Do you think the reason so many people feel like I was born in the wrong decade is they were raised on things from the decade prior to think that that's what the world looks like, and that's not what it looks like, and so they feel like, oh, I would have fit in so much better in the 80s, or in the 70s, or in the 90s.
And another of my items, if we get to it tonight, is actually about that very notion.
Interesting.
The idea of when you were a kid, and we'll talk about this maybe later, but the idea that when you're a kid, you look at older things, and you think that's what the world outside looks like. But then you grow up, and that's not what it looks like. Yeah. And wasn't even while you were looking at it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I bring this up as kind of an interesting experiment, kind of a fun premise. And I don't mean that I want to hold myself up forever. I don't mean that I want to get like trapped
or
in
spend
the past.
A year in that year.
Right. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Because that's essentially what I did with Spawn Year, except it was even worse. It was with one thing.
Yeah.
But imagine, if you will, that you, and I wouldn't go so crazy as to like redecorate or anything, but imagine if you will, that you spend a week. I don't know why a week, but it seemed like a nice round number. 7. It's a nice round number. I thought you make sure and prepare ahead of time. You prep it, and you have plenty of like television and movies and reading material and stuff like that from that period. And you only listen to music from that from that year or before. But then or maybe just that year. Just to get yourself into the mood of what that year would have been like. And I think it might even be interesting to go as far as to like print or even buy like magazines and newspapers from that year, and just try to like live in that year.
I think that could be interesting. I don't know what the end point of it would be.
I don't either. I think it would be the sort of thing where you'd have to see what it'd be like making a documentary where you're not really sure what the ultimate what the takeaway is going to be until you finished it. I almost think it could actually make for an interesting video. I don't know if you could get a documentary out of it, but like a video.
I don't know what that would be.
And just kind of discussing what the...
It would be like, it felt like this, or...
Sure.
How would you pick the year?
I don't know.
Would you just have, like...
Well, my first inkling would be to pick a year that I think I love, but I was too young to really live in it. So I would probably pick 89. My first thought would be 89, because I remember 89, a lot of my favorite things came from there, or a lot of things I like came from that year, but I was 5. Like, what if I go back as an adult and re-experience as much as humanly possible that year?
Well, I was thinking the year you were born might also be an interesting year.
It would, sure.
I mean, you also have a lot of good stuff there, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It almost seems too easy to do those years. You'd almost want, like a wheel of, like, years in, like, maybe the 70s and 80s and just, like, spin it and pick it.
It'd be fun to do it with someone, too. It'd be fun to, find somebody else that would do it with you, where you just make a pact, like, we're only going to look at these things. And, like, it would be easier to do if you didn't have to, like, go out in the outside world that week.
Yeah.
If you could just take a week off and
just
and
lived
do it.
in that year. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be interesting. I don't know.
I thought about it for a long time. I've never mentioned it to anyone, but it's something I've always wanted to do.
And now the whole internet knows. Well, at least
74 right now patrons, yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, no, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Alright, so my next one is... okay, I'll do one that's jumping off yours, which is, when we stop patting ourselves in the back for living. Can we stop acting like referencing things that just exist when all of us grew up is in any way clever, smart, or unique? So I was listening to this podcast today. First negative thing I've ever heard about Baby Driver.
Oh, wow.
And he was talking...
Which we still haven't had a chance to see.
We have not had a chance to see it. And I don't know if I agree with him or if he's right, but this is what he said.
Because you haven't seen it.
But he was talking about how he read like an article where it was like, Baby Driver is the must-see movie for music lovers. And he went to the movie and he's like, yeah, it's all hits. What are you talking about? Like, oh, it's a Queen song. Even if it's a Deep Pull Queen song, we all know every Queen song. Like this isn't clever. This isn't smart. This isn't for actual music lovers. Mm-hmm. This is what everyone knows.
Yeah.
Which is somewhat what Guardians was. And it was funny because he goes...
Although, I'm going to quibble semantics for a minute.
Okay.
Because there is a difference between a lover of something, and we've had this conversation. We've had this conversation here, I think. There is a difference between someone who loves something and an enthusiast.
Sure.
And maybe the implication when you say music lover is expert, but I don't know. We have Jeffrey. I think his last name is what, Patron. One of our patrons. That guy's a music expert. He's a music enthusiast. You've seen his room. He's got album covers you've never heard of. This guy is really impressive. This guy strikes me. He's probably watching right now and blushing right now. But this guy strikes me as one of those people that should have gone on Rock Jeopardy. You remember Rock Jeopardy? Did you know about that? VH1 had a Jeopardy that was just music.
Oh, cool.
And it was Rock and Roll Jeopardy. It was really cool. And I think it was hosted by the lead singer for Sugar Ray, who is a well-known rock expert. And anyway, he could have been on that show, but that guy, I can imagine going to a movie like that and being like, yeah, it's not for me. It's everything everybody knows. But I'm just saying that I don't know if it's really disingenuous to say lovers over enthusiasts.
Maybe. So his resounding thing was like, yeah, it's a really good movie, but it's Edgar Wright's worst movie.
Wow.
And it's his simplest and most like base mainstream movie.
Do you think part of the reason people are liking it so much is because they're like, they think they get it? Is it that kind of thing?
Well, the big thing he said is that it was dumbed down for the American audiences. His British films are much smarter and much more clever, and this was his after Scott Pilgrim didn't do very well at the box office and he got kicked off Ant-Man. Like, this was his like movie jail movie. He was like, I have to make something that's successful, and he made the most commercial movie he could make. But this is just a thing, and I don't have to opinion on this film.
Comparatively and with like just your perceptions based on other things, relative to other things, it probably doesn't feel so mainstream to people who just watch mainstream movies.
Sure. this is a thing.
Which means I'll probably love it.
That's really bothering me more and more, and I've talked about this many times, but like this real just regurgitation of everyone's childhood, and everyone's childhood. It's a childhood you're supposed to have had. These are the things you were supposed to have grown up with. We've talked about this with Goonies. You're supposed to love Goonies.
I don't. Have that.
This is part of everyone's childhood. We all watched Goonies. We all loved it. I also didn't have that. I watched Goonies when I was 15. I think it's a bad movie.
Well, and I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't remember much about it. But I didn't have that. I didn't grow up with it. I don't love it. You know what else I don't love? I don't love A Christmas Story. Yeah, I said it. And you're supposed to love that movie. Don't love that movie.
Well, and Christmas Story is a weird one for me because when I was growing up, I didn't know anyone else that knew that movie until I was like a teenager, and like that, and that I didn't realize other people really knew about that movie. Until
that became like a Monty Python thing where people just would not stop quoting it
until the 24-hour marathons. That's when I was like, oh, I thought this was like this movie that like my family liked.
Yeah.
I didn't realize everyone liked this movie, and I've gotten a little sick of that movie, but I still like that movie. And one day I'll read the book it's based on, which is apparently just like a real cranky old man talking about how terrible his childhood was, and I'm real interested in that. But no, it's just. I'm really getting tired of this, like, we have to act like when Guardians 2 came out, I think it was Guardians 2, it might have been a different movie this year, but my brain immediately goes to Guardians, but when Guardians 2 came out, there was a couple that came into work, and they were talking about, like, how she'd been telling, like, her coworkers, like, no, you don't get it. It's a movie made for us. It's for people that grew up when we did. I'm like, yes, so's everything fucking else out right now. Big whoop. Why is it, you're in a store that sells exclusively things for people who grew up in the 80s.
That's what's selling.
Why are you acting like... Why do we... It's my issue with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Stranger Things is exactly that. Stranger Things is a fine show, but it's also a show that is 6 movies I've already seen. I don't understand why people love it.
Yeah, we're not looking ahead, right?
Yeah.
We're not thinking about what it's going to be like 20 years from now.
My biggest issue with Stranger Things is they didn't do what George Lucas did.
Because we will probably keep regurgitating. Because now art... And something... This is maybe too off topic to bring up. But who cares? This show's about the tangents. Yeah. And occasionally cosines, but mostly the tangent. I worry that and I worry about it with myself sometimes, and I try to... I try not to straight up do this. I try to counter it some, but I worry about people trying to raise their kids with the exact childhoods they had.
Yeah. No, and that's totally
and there's a difference between introducing your kids to things you loved and trying to... Because part of the point of kids is to vicariously relive your childhood through them, but it shouldn't be yours, it should be theirs.
Well, one of the things when I
say relive, I mean childhood again. Like part of the point of having kids is to get to see the world through that mindset again. That is by definition not your childhood. You've done that already.
One of the things I told you about at work is
be new.
The number of parents that come in looking for like an original Nintendo or an original Super Nintendo or an original Game Boy. And I try to sell them like the Retron or something. And they're like, no, they've got to have the original one, like as if their child's real fucking special and unique because they're into retro games. And I'm like...
I know, that drives you crazy.
So are all the kids.
Yeah.
Every kid that comes in here doesn't want a retro one because they have to have the old one because they don't know what they're talking about. They don't... it's failing technology. I would rather have technology that works and can play the cartridges than to have the actual system and what it looks like. But yeah, no, it drives me nuts that like everyone thinks their kids are special.
Now, I do draw the line at straight up emulation.
Sure.
Because you're with a lot of titles not getting exactly the experience that it was.
Yeah, and that's
not fair. I want the sound effects to be there. I want the music to be there.
Absolutely. But no, it's this real like my kid's a special snowflake thing because he likes retro games. So do all the other kids. And guess what? Your childhood is the childhood your kid's having because that's the society we live in.
Yeah.
And I want us to stop.
Yeah, you don't have to compensate for that. And your kids, you probably don't have to lift a finger for your kids to get interested in the video games you grew up with. Am I right about that?
Yeah, and
I feel like that just kind of happens.
And that's a real different thing from our childhood.
Some of that is good because some of that just means that some of those games are that timeless and worth playing.
But that is a real different thing from our childhood, right?
And also and I should say, there's a major commercial aspect to everything we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Because those companies are continuing to sell us the things that that we bought when we were kids, because if we buy them again, it's free money for them. They have them sitting there. They can just sell them to us again.
But that's the
virtual console. But I'm glad that's there. I mean, I'm not bitching about the virtual console.
Yeah, but like it's this. The dynamic that parents and children have now must be so different from the dynamic that parents and children had every generation before this, because everything, including children's cartoon shows, are nothing but regurgitating the 80s right now.
Yeah.
Every parent doesn't have that thing like, oh, you like that old boring stuff. Their stuff's what's cool.
Yeah.
The stuff they grew up with is what's cool.
And you're right, last generation didn't have that.
I didn't have that when I was... I mean, certainly there were things that my mom liked and things like that were like, oh, I got introduced to this cool thing, but there's still lots of music and movies and stuff that my mom loved and I thought was boring. I didn't watch Goonies. You know why I didn't watch Goonies as a kid? So when my mom was in college, she had a bunch of, movies taped off HBO and stuff. And so we had a bunch of black tapes that just had titles written on them.
Yeah.
And we had Goonies.
I had that too with my stepmom.
We had Goonies. I thought it was a boring title. It sounded like a boring movie to me.
She had so much stuff taped off at HBO.
But it sounded like a boring movie to me. It's also why I didn't watch The Running Man as a child, because we had Terminator / The Running Man. We had Terminator and The Running Man on, and I thought
that sounds like a kick-ass double feature.
It's a kick-ass double feature, except I never watched it because I thought The Running Man was a movie about jogging. And my childhood was deprived because of that, but kids don't have that right now.
Yeah.
And parents don't have that dynamic right now. I don't know whether that's good or bad, but
yeah.
But so
I'm pros and cons to everything, right? I mean, there's some good things about that. But, but I also think that that's one of those things that we put in movies, like the high schools that our parents grew up in, and they keep putting those high schools in current things. I think we also have that with the with like the kids hating everything their parents like. Maybe that's going away to some degree, as you're suggesting. But you still see it. But you still see it in fiction, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You still see the rebellious teenager that hates everything that his parents like. I'm not saying teenagers aren't still rebellious.
They are, but yeah. But to get back kind of the original point of just can we stop?
Whatever the hell that was.
Can we stop complimenting things or can we stop acting like it's new or special or unique or for you? Like, I didn't hear this, but I'm just gonna use it. I'm just gonna keep picking on Guardians. I liked Guardians 2 alright, but I'm just gonna keep picking on Guardians. When the Pac-Man thing happens, I feel like the way people feel about that is as if no one else knows about it. Like, oh, that's so cool they did Pac-Man. I remember Pac-Man from when I was a kid. Fuck you, Pac-Man's everywhere.
And also, and it's still everywhere.
Yeah, it's still everywhere. It's not like what is he turned into Lady Hawk and you're like, I remember Lady Hawk from when I was 8. That's real cool.
What is the most popular new hot arcade machine at arcades right now? It's 4-player Pac-Man. And it's awesome, and it's really cool to play competitive 4-player Pac-Man. But no, Pac-Man is still in and still everywhere, and everybody wants it to look just like it did. And also, it wasn't popular and everybody hated it. But didn't we just do that with Pixels?
Yeah, and it looked just like the Pixels back then, too.
I didn't have as much of a problem with that scene as you did, but the reaction was peculiar, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying...
I'm with you there.
I'm not saying that I dislike that we're because in many ways, we are mass-producing and making, and let's make no mistake, you are being sold to. This is not because people like you and liked your childhood. They know there's a market there.
Yeah.
In the most cynical sense, you're living in the world you're living in because you will pay to live in this world.
Okay, I just thought of something. You know what they could have done with that? I don't want to rewrite the movie. But I just thought of this. And this obviously gets into that we own things, so let's use them, like we own popular franchises, so let's use them in everything territory. But this would be a cooler version of that. So Disney in Marvel things has to put Star Wars everywhere. I mean, Star Wars is in, they reference it in everywhere, right? And because they own Star Wars. What if instead of Pac-Man, it was Tron?
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
And I know they have no interest in resurrecting that franchise right now, so they wouldn't think to do that, because then you'd probably have a bunch of fanboys like, oh, they're finally going to do Tron 3! But what if it was Tron?
Yeah. Or The Navigator, or something that wasn't the same thing that is everywhere right now. That's my issue. Is, you know what, like, lots of people grow up with Flight of the Navigator, but it's not the thing we always talk about. Wouldn't that be way cooler?
Well, I guess, except I think that is maybe obscure enough. It would be a strange thing to throw in, but not Tron.
No, not Tron.
I just thought of that. That's an aside.
I just prefer if people, I don't know, actually pulled from their childhood and not this weird childhood that we all had to have.
I will say I do worry that I do that with my kid, though, to some degree.
That you raise him on just your childhood?
Not... I mean, like obviously I let him branch out, and he has his own interests.
And he's watched way more Power Rangers than you have.
He has,
and he's forgotten way more Power Rangers than you've forgotten as well.
That's true, than I've ever watched or forgotten. But
a month before I got here, Lost Galaxy was his favorite Power Rangers. A couple of weeks ago, we found out he doesn't remember it at all.
He can't even tell you anything about Madden Defender anymore. He doesn't even remember.
And that was his favorite character.
It was, yeah. That showed up in my Power Rangers game. They finally put that in as a playable character. And I was like, hey, Jason, Madden Defender. And then I was like, you don't remember this character, do you? And he was like, yay! No, the thing I'm worried I do is the thing you're complaining about people coming into your store and doing. That, like... I worry that I'm too excited about the fact that my kid likes the old stuff. Mm-hmm. I do kind of consider, because I think there's some truth to what you're talking about.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I want us to stop acting like it's special. That's really. I don't mind living in the world I live in, because in many ways we live in the world that we wanted to live in as kids. Yeah. You have all of the merchandise and all the toys and all of the product that you wish you had when you were a kid, and I get that.
And the access
is
cool. So good.
Yeah. The Power Rangers toys now are so much better than they were when you were a kid. And for all the Power Rangers, all the Mario merchandise.
We can also go back and watch all the shows that we thought were lost for us forever, right?
Mm-hmm. Except that one video game show that we tried to watch on YouTube.
We'll never, but that's okay. Deadly Games.
Deadly Games.
I don't need Deadly Games in my life.
That's a he made me watch. None of you got to hear about.
That was he made me watch for fucking 20 minutes.
We watched the whole episode.
No, we did. Did we?
We watched the whole.
Did we
first
really?
Episode.
Oh yeah, because we were waiting for more Christopher Lloyd to happen.
Yep. But
that's right. We did watch that whole episode. I forgot about that.
It's fine. It's fine that we live in this world, and that's whatever. But can we stop acting like it's surprising anymore?
That's true.
I don't know. It's like every time somebody acts surprised when like there's a good superhero movie, like no shit, like look at the superhero movies.
So this is just kind of a thought, and we've only got half an hour left. We don't have to talk about this very long.
Okay.
But this seems to be creeping up more and more all the time. And I know you have this with me, so Eric and I will not have an argument about this. I know you feel this way to some degree as well.
I agree completely with whatever you're about to say.
You brought this up in a video the other day, or was it? I can't remember what the video was, but we were talking about. Oh, it was the profanity thing, where I asked you if there were certain swear words that you just tuned out if you heard them, where you were just done with a movie, and you said you didn't have that with swearing, but you had it with fecal matter anything. I have that too, and I feel like I can't get away from it.
Yeah,
and I feel like it shows up in things that are otherwise like wholesome or family friendly.
We talked about it with Lego Batman.
With Lego Batman.
Yeah, that there was like a bunch of like butt jokes in Lego Batman. It's not really any poop jokes, but there was a couple of jokes where like after we watched it, we both were like, yeah, you need those. Those felt real lowbrow. Yeah,
but that's not even what I'm talking. If anybody just even brings it up like that, like you just did, I don't like that. Like that bugs me. I don't know what it is. I do not like that word. However, shit has become innocuous, and I don't even think about fecal matter when that word comes up.
No,
isn't that interesting?
Yeah. No, I
think the F word is that way too.
Yeah. Well,
like that word doesn't even mean what it means, except for in the context of what it means.
Well, unless you're using it specifically that way, but
that's what I said.
But fuck has become like the most multi-purpose word. It means everything and anything at this point.
Yeah, but
it's like Smurf.
But shit is a close second. Is it not?
Yeah, I agree.
You know. Like Vince and I years ago would be on campus, and we would make fun of people for using that word. You know, one of our favorites was there was this guy that ran past us, and he was like, "I'm just jogging and shit," and we just thought that was the funniest thing. But everybody says that kind of thing now, and I don't even think about it anymore. And like I say it now, and I don't like that I say it. And
I've always had disassociation with that word and that stuff. So yeah.
But I do think we don't think enough about what words mean.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
And I don't think that way, and I don't mean to say that we have to be like obnoxiously literal. I don't like those people either. You know, that bugs me. But I do sometimes feel, I guess, a little bit hypocritical in that I don't mind that word, but I don't like the more innocuous regular word people use for it. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I know those have always been disassociated. People can say shit all day. It doesn't bother me. I don't like when people say poop.
I just don't like it. It just bugs me.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
All right. And I side tangent. I hate how much it's in kid stuff now. It is this real line of, look, we all know that kids think that stuff is funny.
Like, yeah.
You shouldn't feed into that. Like, that's the thing where you're like, all right, come on, like,
and it's lazy, right?
Yeah, but it's in all children's stuff now, and I'm done with it. Just because kids think it's funny doesn't mean you should feed into that and let that be, like, I don't know, like something's been lost with that, where it's just like we're just, I don't know. Hold your kids to better standards. Like, they're going to do that. It's a phase that they should move past. By showing them and making them material that reinforces that, it stops being that.
And isn't it interesting that we make kids grow up too fast at the exact same time that we hold them back and we don't allow them to grow up?
Yeah.
Those two things are happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what my next one is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to talk about a phenomenon that you recently discovered, and I also recently discovered, but a little bit later, or a little bit earlier than you did.
Okay.
The stupid fucking Twix left or right thing.
I was waiting to see if you would ever bring that up.
So this is a thing I discovered at work, because we sell Twix, and I was like, how come it says like all left and all right? And like, you don't know about this? People either like left Twix or they like right Twix. And
they're the same. What is the difference?
And
is there a difference?
No.
At all?
No. I guarantee if you switched them, nobody would know.
And also, you can't say that. You think people like this or I haven't taken like a real survey or nothing. I haven't had like a good sample set. Mm. I have mentioned this to at least 5 different people, and all of them are like, "What are you talking about?"
Everyone at work, and now granted they're younger, but everyone at work was like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing."
Oh.
And they also all like the left one. And I was like, okay, well then I like right.
I said I feel like the world is kind of leaving me behind sometimes. This is apparently Twix is part of that.
But everyone said they
even
like,
fucking Twix I no longer understand.
Everyone said they like left. I'm a consummate contrarian, so I like right, I guess. But
you think you're a contrarian? I eat them both at the same time.
But well, you can't anymore because they're now packaged both left or both right.
But they're still together, right? You can still like bite into it.
Right, but they're both right Twixes or they're both left Twixes.
Okay, but that's fucking stupid.
I agree.
Wait, but aren't they? But yeah, but I could still eat them the same way.
You would have to buy.
I could still eat it at the same time, right?
You would have to buy an all left and all right. You'd have to buy 2 separate Twixes and eat one from each at the same time.
But if we both, here's what I don't get. Okay, if we agree that they're actually the same, then they're not packaging them differently at all.
No, they aren't. But people are feeding into this and intentionally buying.
I don't get this anymore than I get fucking fidget spinners, dude. Like.
Yep. No, it's
like
dumb.
Twix spinners.
It's dumb.
What am I missing on that? That sounds like a crazy scam.
Yeah.
That sounds so.
It sounds like no one had actually had that until they started like playing into it, and all of a sudden people acted like they've always had that. Oh yeah, I've always.
It sounds forced.
Yep.
Yeah, like they're. And the Oreo thing is true. Like, people eat those differently. Like, different people like to...
How do you eat an Oreo?
I'm boring. I put it in milk.
Okay, see, I eat the top half, and I scrape the cream off with my teeth, and I eat the bottom half.
I mean, I have done that, but that's not what I tend to do.
Or at least that's what I did as a kid. I don't eat Oreos
once.
Often, but that's how I used to eat them.
Yeah.
I'm a grown-up and shit.
I'm more... I'm more of a Chips Ahoy man myself.
Sure.
I fucking love me some Chips Ahoy.
Because you're an adult and shit.
Yeah. Do you remember the jazz commercials when we were kids? I can't remember Sing 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 was the song, and they took that old jazz standard and they put it in the Chips Ahoy commercials, and that became associated with Chips Ahoy to the point where if anybody heard that song outside of that context, they'd be like Chips Ahoy, and it was. I
do remember when Oreos got first did the double stuffed. I remember that commercial vividly. Where it was somebody was like, oh my god, there's so much, and then they like opened it, like they like took the top off of it. I guess it's not opening, but they took the top off, and then the entire city was covered in like Chips Ahoy cream. I remember that. Vividly.
Here, we'll see if this we'll see if this is that commercial. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Oh, there it is.
I do remember this.
Remember this? Yeah.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
I had to do a vocal version of this song in a choir when I was in high school.
I always associate the song with The Mask.
This song is not in The Mask.
Okay, well, I always associate it with The Mask.
I mean, there's swing music in The Mask, but yeah. Remember that?
I completely forgot about
that.
Yeah.
I still think of that when I think of Chips Ahoy. Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Anyways.
Yeah.
See, that's genuine nostalgia you just saw.
That's not my topic.
Not whatever the rest of you were doing. That's genuine nostalgia. Not you watching. The rest of the world. You guys are great.
I think. I don't
paying $2 a month for me doing something.
I just don't think nostalgia. Yeah, they're like, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing, right? And for Eric to get cigarettes. But that one guy. But I do. I don't know. Some people talk about nostalgia like it's a bad word.
I don't think it is.
Just flat out. Like
I just don't like this corporate nostalgia.
No, I don't like that either. But I think it is disingenuous to say that, because I've heard people say, "Oh, I'm not nostalgic." Yeah, you are. Everybody's nostalgic for something.
I found I'm getting more nostalgic as I get older, which makes sense. Like, what are you nostalgic for when you're 15?
I don't mean that everybody has like the geeky nostalgia that I tend to have about stuff. Where like if I see the Death of Superman symbol in anything, I get really excited. But that's not exactly what I'm talking about. Like you have fond memories, and there are moments you wish you could go back to. That's all nostalgia is. That time in your past is a train station that you'll never get back to, and everybody has a train station they wish they could return to.
I guess it's not that I'm not nostalgic. I'm not particularly sentimental.
Okay.
But no, I'm certainly nostalgic, and I feel like I'm getting more so as I get older, which makes sense because I have more stuff.
And I don't mean you have to be as passionate about it as I sometimes am with things, but I just mean like. I think that's part of human condition. I mean, I feel like those kinds of memories are part of like the driving force of life. Like,
well,
I don't buy that everyone doesn't have that to some degree.
One of the things I think we have killed nostalgically is the rediscovering something from your childhood that doesn't exist anymore. Oh, you will never go back to a show and be like, oh man, I remember how this felt, because you have 24-hour complete access to.
I mean, I do, but it doesn't happen as much. And I know people, and I know you're like this. I know people who avoid certain things so that if they ever do look at it, they will have that, or they purposefully never look at it again so that those memories will stay with them.
Mm-hmm. Now, it was interesting when we did Marvel Mania. I had some of that with the Marvel movies. Like, I was really going back to where I was when these were coming out.
Yeah.
But a lot of those movies I haven't watched in a long time. So, like, I mean, I guess you can still have a little bit, but like I don't know. There's a lot of stuff where like I try and think about like the feeling that I had when I first saw it, and it feels so far away because I've watched that movie so many times, or I've watched that TV show, since like I don't have that with I don't rewatch 90s Spider-Man and be like, I remember when I was a kid, unless I'm actively thinking about it.
Yeah,
because I've rewatched that a couple of times.
Yeah.
So,
is it my turn?
Yeah.
We
my
Chips Ahoy.
To Twix, left and right.
Twix. There we go.
Yes, there we go.
Okay, so and this may be veering too much into territory I've covered before.
Okay.
But I think either my standards are just different than other people's standards, or I'm too picky.
Okay.
But I wish I liked more comedy. And we talked about this a little bit here and there.
Taste.
I do, and I want to branch them out, and I'm having a tough time with it. I showed you the first episode of that new comedy, that new stand-up comedy
it's
show.
It's called The Comedians or something,
No, it's called, is it called, see, now that you say that.
Stand-ups?
Is it Standing Up, or is it... The Stand-Ups is what it's called. Yeah. There are 6 episodes of that show right now. That first season, and we watched the first guy, and I loved him. I thought he was hilarious.
I liked him a lot.
I thought he was just wonderful.
Yeah.
I sampled all 5 of the others.
Didn't like any of them?
And didn't like any of them.
That's fair.
And turned all of them off after 3 or 4 minutes. And they were just, a lot of them were just too raunchy, and I think they were funny. And I have liked raunchy comedy before, but I guess this is another one of those, like, life is, like, it seems to be passing me by, except, I feel like I've always had this with stand-up comedy.
Are you talking specifically about stand-up comedy, or like also like with movies? No,
kind of just comedy in general, I guess.
Yeah, whenever I show you a comedy, I know there's always a coin flip. Because
I don't think I understand myself with this, because I'm real self-conscious about it, and I get worried that if I can't explain to you why I don't like it, I'm just being a contrarian. And I don't mean to be like that. But like, you showed me a show right after you got here that I just thought wasn't funny.
What did we watch?
We watched a pilot for that like Everything is Literal show.
We watched Man-Seeking Woman. Which is a show I adore.
Without an explanation of what the fuck I was looking at, I did not understand that show. And even after you explained it to me, I was like, yeah, but I don't think it's funny. And maybe I would look at another episode or two and think it was funny, but I didn't get it. I also think that you don't draw a line with awkward comedy like I do.
No. Not as much as you do. I think I dislike some of the stuff you dislike, but not as much. And that part might...
And I don't get the modern sitcom in general.
I don't think anyone knows what modern sitcom is.
It's not what I was growing up with. And anytime we try that, or we try to like make fun of that, or do a pastiche of it, it doesn't. It much of the time doesn't seem authentic, or it's.
No. I know I've said this to you before. I don't think anyone now that never saw it before would be able to get Married with Children, because it is what every modern comedy is.
Like that show.
Okay, that's fair. But it was intentionally a real, what if everyone in a normal sitcom was kind of a shitty person?
Yeah.
Or like, what if, you know, like it was the raunchier version of a normal sitcom, and that was novel at the time.
It was a backlash against that wholesome thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it was novel at the time. It is every sitcom now.
That show was a middle finger to Full House.
Absolutely it was.
But the thing is...
And so was The Simpsons to some degree.
And I don't think it's just because, again, of nostalgia or things that like I just grew up liking. Friends is still funny.
Yeah. And the thing I
people say Seinfeld is still funny.
I love Seinfeld.
I like things about that shit. It's real hit and miss to me. I'm weird about Seinfeld. I love Jerry Seinfeld. I wish that had just been nothing but stand-up comedy, because I love his stand-up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Stand-up comedy...
He's got that harpoon joke that I will never stop telling. It's one of my favorite jokes. It just killed me.
I also like Jerry Seinfeld stand-up, but I love Seinfeld. The interesting thing I found with Friends is Friends never has a downward slope, really. Like,
no.
Friends isn't like, well, yeah, but the last 3 seasons suck.
I mean, it has those tropes that I get sick of.
But I don't ever feel like a drastic drop in quality. It does do the same story over and over again, but a lot of sitcoms have that problem. Like Frasier, like notoriously, like last couple of seasons are bad.
Yeah.
Friends doesn't have a drop off. It gets a little tired, but it doesn't have a quality drop off.
No, and considering like some of the issues that some of those actors were having and stuff, you'd think it would. You know, there's that whole thing with the, I forget his name, with the guy who plays Chandler, who like was drunk on set all the time, and I think that's what it was. I forget. But
he
has like pieces of that whole period he just doesn't even have memory of anymore. And you say like he sort of gained weight.
Matthew Perry.
There he is.
No, you are certainly weird. You're weird with comedy. Where
Thanks.
We're like, I don't know where I stand when it comes to showing you comedy. Which is one of the reasons I've actually put
I don't know where I stand with turning on things.
Which is why I've kind of put off showing you any of Edgar Wright's films. Is you're either going to really like them or you're not, and that's how you are with a lot of comedies.
And I feel like I'm in a transition period right now where, you know, it's weird. I almost feel like I'm having like, I don't want to say like the teenage thing again. You know, I don't want to say like a second childhood or any bullshit like that. But I feel like I'm having this thing where I'm trying to be open-minded and I'm trying to get things I don't get. And I'm trying to like open my palette up. And sometimes I don't know if I'm liking things that I wouldn't have liked before, or if I'm just tolerating them because I want to.
I don't.
But it's almost, I don't know, it's almost like an identity crisis thing to some degree, where I just I want to think that there's stuff I just don't get, and that like I have growing to do or something.
Or you just don't think that stuff's funny, like.
Yeah, maybe so.
Comedy's real hard to pin down. I once did a thing with stand-up comedy, where I experimented with stand-up comedy because I realized, because there's that stereotypical trope of like women aren't funny, and I realized I didn't watch a lot of
they're not
female stand-up comedians.
Although I don't know a lot of I haven't watched a lot of female stand-up comedians I thought were funny, but. So I haven't watched a lot of them in general, though.
So I did an experiment.
My sample set's not good.
I intentionally went through Netflix and Hulu and watched as many female comedians as I could find, and I found the ratio is about the same as male comedians. I like about 15 to 20% of them.
Okay.
Most of them are terrible, but I feel the same way about male comedians. So yeah, I did an experiment. I went through. I was like, oh yeah, okay. So there's some that they're really funny.
I did see a female comedian live once. I thought was really funny.
I think the biggest problem that female comedians have with that reputation of like women aren't funny is they don't have a George Carlin or a Bill Hicks. Like they don't have one that I think is really the like
stand out.
Yeah, that almost speaks across generations, and I think is just like definitively like you will always be referred to as one of the greatest comedians of all time. And I think you can go back to and still laugh at. There's a couple of female comedians that are much older that people talk about that were really important at the time, but I don't know if their comedy still holds up. Like, I think Carlin's comedy still holds up. I think Bill Hicks' comedy. I never really got into Richard Pryor, but I imagine his does. Eddie Murphy's comedy still holds up, and things like that. I don't know if there really is one. We need one of those. We need a real, genuine, and maybe it's too late. Like, maybe they should have had one back in the 70s. Like, maybe it's too late for that. But
or maybe there is one, we just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But it's not popular enough.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I have a tendency with certain kinds of comedians. I don't even mean to put all women in a box, but I of course. And by the way, you know somebody who almost never thinks women are funny? My wife. It's hysterical. But anyway, Sarah also doesn't like female singers most of the time. But anyway, there are certain things that if a comedian looks a certain way, you know they're going to get in a microphone and start talking about, and I have a tendency to like kind of tune out. Like if I want a heavyset guy to walk up in the microphone and spend 5 minutes on something else before he finally starts talking about his weight. And I have that with female comedians where it is tended to be a more male-dominated industry, and I want to see a woman like really establish herself as just a good comedian before she starts delving into that, because I feel like it becomes a crutch where it's like I'm fat, so I have to talk about how fat I am, or I'm a woman and I have to talk about the fact that you were expecting a man but you got me. Like I don't like that. Like I'm already with you. I'm ready for your comedy. Yeah, do you have that? Maybe. And also, it's just predictable stuff where like people feel like they have to talk about all the same stuff in comedy. If I've thought about doing stand-up comedy before, and if I ever did it, the first thing I would think about writing about would be how I have not been to airports enough to do airport jokes. I think it would be fun to open a set with, I'm not gonna tell airport jokes.
I think
I don't go to airports.
I think the trap a lot of female comedians have fallen into is treating it like it's a brand of comedy. Where like if you're Jewish, you tell Jewish jokes.
Right.
If you're black, you tell black jokes. If you're a woman, you tell woman jokes. That's not how it.
Women are a minority. There's more of them than there are us. Just tell your jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you can't talk about gender. And there's not, obviously tons of funny things to go to with that, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know. I don't like the whole like oh, am I wacky? I'm a female comedian. Isn't that weird? No, it's not. Like, I don't want it to be weird.
At some point, I will show you my girlfriend's boyfriend, which is a stand-up comedy set that I'm gonna be really interested to see whether you.
I would like to watch more stand-up comedy.
Because
I don't know because I love stand-up comedy, but I don't spend enough time with it.
I think my girlfriend's boyfriend is a real powerful stand-up comedy set, kind of like some of Dimitri Martin stuff. And I love it a lot. It's not the same comedy stylings, but kind of like sometimes when you get to the end of Dimitri Martin, when I got to the end of If I was like, is that not just stand-up comedy set or like a really funny motivational speech?
Yeah,
it's more like that. It's more in that vein, but not exactly the same brand of humor. How much time we got?
6 minutes.
Okay.
What are we talking about,
Open up a
Eric?
giant can of worms.
Oh boy, of course you are.
Can endings or bad later seasons kill an entire story?
That's great. That's great. I mean, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is Dexter.
I was thinking Heroes.
Yeah, well, except Heroes, it's not the end. It's the fucking second season.
Well, that's why I said later seasons.
But by later, you mean early, but not the first season. 2 is not late when there's 5, Eric.
Sure.
That show is just bad after the first season. I'm not saying that 2 isn't better than 3, but it's a big drop off. Because we're just doing the same thing again. Because you wouldn't allow it to be the premise it was supposed to be, where you change the cast every season. So he's like, oh, what do we do? I guess somebody saw the future again. We better stop that shit from happening. And oh god, boy, we only have 13 episodes because of the writer's strike.
And after season 2, they're like, well, we learned our lesson. So what we're doing this season is somebody saw the future again, and...
It kills it if... This is a very Spawn sort of thing.
Mm.
It can kill it unless you're willing to ignore the rest of it and have part of a story. If it's supposed to be an ongoing story that will eventually have an ending, but conveniently we never decided when the fuck that was going to be, and we didn't have any forethought in how long we were going to make the thing. So when you have something like Spawn, and I don't mean necessarily as the TV show, although that was a backwards thing where season 3 got really good, and then we didn't get any more. I mean... That is a stellar piece of work. That third season. Holy shit! And it ends on a cliffhanger. We don't get any more. But what you end up with an ongoing show, what you end up with something like Spawn is it's all about finally understanding why we're here in the first place, and I think there's TV shows that kind of do that kind of thing, where we just. It's a big mystery, and someday we'll get it solved. But right now we're doing other shit, and you have to end that kind of a show. I think this is less of a problem when you get a show that is just a different story season to season. So
which Dexter has a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, and so it is easier to go back and watch just the first 3 or 4 seasons of that show and not bother with the rest of it, and still get a good...
And I've never finished Dexter because I thought season 3 was dreadful. Yeah. Everyone said season 4 gets better, and I couldn't deal with John Lithgow's character.
Yeah, sure.
I like John Lithgow, and I've seen John Lithgow in serious roles. There's a moment that's supposed to be real dramatic where he's in the shower crying, and it sounds like his laugh. And I was like, I can't get in. It's John Lithgow.
I didn't have that with it,
which is totally fair. Most people did.
I didn't think that was a great season or anything. But no, I think Dexter is one of those shows where it doesn't kill it, but you just.
The first 2 seasons are still some of the best television I think I've ever watched.
What sucks is you get acting that's still of that caliber, so you want to watch it. Except you're looking at a parody of. You're looking at self-parody where the actors don't know it, and that drives me crazy. It doesn't kill 24 because you can look at those as singular pieces, even though it's the same guy and he's dealing with more shit compounded on top of the shit from before. So I don't think it kills Dexter. I don't think it kills 24.
But how about a movie? Or a singular miniseries kind of a thing?
Well, that's tough because that's standalone. So it tends to. It's sort of like with the miniseries thing. You're basically talking about the phenomenon of the shitty third act that kind of ruins, that kind of spoils the whole plot, right? What I always call the third act syndrome. So my go-to for third act syndrome has always been, except for before it existed, I Am Legend. And I think with a miniseries, you have that I Am Legend kind of effect, where it's like, okay, these first 2 hours are some of the best 2 hours I've ever seen of anything, but you don't want to go back and watch it because you have to see the whole thing.
I have that with
it ends at some point.
With Interstellar. I think Interstellar's ending is garbage.
I feel that.
And it's tainted that entire movie. I liked that movie up until we went into that black hole.
Yeah.
Walking out of the theater, I thought it was a terrible film. Right. And I will talk to people about it being a terrible movie. It's not a terrible movie. It's a pretty good movie, and then they go in the black hole. Let me ask you this,
specifically with the TV miniseries idea, would you go back and watch the first 2 hours that were great of a 3-hour miniseries that totally sucked? Any more, or like, okay, let's say like 6 or whatever. Any more than you would the first 2 acts of a movie you didn't like?
No, you watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
You could watch the third Would you watch just the third episode of the Shining miniseries?
No, I just wouldn't bother with it.
Would you ever go back to that again?
No, I just wouldn't go back to it.
He recently read The Shining, and so I showed him the Shining miniseries.
Yeah.
It was a fun little
It got
series
better toward the end,
yeah.
but it was never good. And if I only watched that, I mean, the thing is, it was better comparatively. If I only watched that, I'd be like, this isn't that good. But once I got there, I was like, oh, this guy got better. He really kind of cranked up the... Yeah, no, don't watch that. Don't do it. But yeah, and then you have a lot of things when you get into like trilogies and like movie series where bad sequels don't ruin the first one because it stands alone fine anyway.
It was until sometime last year. It's before I moved here because I told you about it when it happened. It was the first time I rewatched The Dark Knight since Rises came out. Dark Knight was really negatively affected by Rises for me. That movie is pointless after Rises has come out because nothing they're talking about matters. Thematically, it's all bullshit. After Rises comes out, the Joker does not matter.
They just changed the people making that movie were different people,
and so
they were the same
I
people,
really had a hard time going back to that film. Then I went back to it, and I was like, "Oh, it's still a great movie."
Yeah, absolutely.
I just have to view it in the vacuum. Star Wars is like that. I can't watch Star Wars without thinking about the prequels. Like I can't put those out of my head.
Oh, see, I don't have that.
Yeah, but I was a Star Wars kid, so I watched the prequels a lot.
Yeah, those feel like too. Well, I'm sorry, but it sounds like a personal problem. But
I'll still watch the prequels. I still like the prequels to some degree.
But Star Wars, I feel
horrible,
like,
but I like them.
For me, I mean, my perspective is different because I was in junior high when Phantom Menace came out and had seen Star Wars several times. So for me, it was I mean, you were the audience they were aiming at, the merchandise and shit too, at least. But yeah, I saw that movie and liked it well enough and really liked the atmosphere of it, but it wasn't Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And so it's easy for me to separate those things because they don't feel like Star Wars to me.
Whereas
they feel like something else called Star Wars.
Interestingly, that was kind of part of the informative part of me getting Star Wars. I mean, I've literally been watching Star Wars since I was 3.
You were just born in the wrong year for some stuff.
Yeah. But no, I always think it's interesting because there are plenty of things that I think I like that don't have good endings.
Yeah.
Or fall apart later.
And then
I would rewatch the first season of Heroes.
Well, but it works as a piece. Mm-hmm. You don't need any more after that.
What about
Lost? Heroes works perfectly as a piece. Lost is a weird thing, and we've talked about this before, and I don't even like to bring up Lost because people will be like, "Oh, who cares about that anymore?" Well, me, god damn it. The thing with Lost is, I love the things I love too much to not go back to it. And I guess I'm one of the only people that do go back to that. But yes, the ending is disappointing. Yes, there's plenty of things they didn't wrap up. But that show still watches in layers, and some of the character stuff is just undeniable for me. And it still makes me feel sometimes a little bit like it did when I first saw it. And that show gave me my fascination with airplanes and airports, which I don't know why, but I am fascinated by airports. And I don't talk about this.
I didn't know that.
This is not a thing I've talked about.
I need to see the terminal.
I have. It's wonderful.
Okay.
But I have a copy of the terminal. But that
the terminal.
I have recurring dreams about airports. There's a part of my brain that lives in the airport, and I've only been on planes a few times, and that is an atmosphere in a world that I am fascinated by. To the point where I have considered researching airports.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not a thing I've talked about.
I said to my friend about maybe 6 months after Lost ended, he was a huge Lost fan. I watched the first half of season 1 of Lost, but I know pretty much everything that happens in Lost because he couldn't stop talking about it.
Yeah. If I taints it, makes it hard to want to go look at it.
Well,
I mean, I would love to show you some of the best things in that show.
My big thing with Lost when I started watching
I was a big fan of that.
My big thing with Lost when I started watching it was...
Lo and I have talked about doing something on that show.
Oh, that's cool.
But I don't know if fucking anyone would care.
This is a show that... is all about the mystery, and I'm real impatient. I'll wait till it's all done, and then I'll watch all of it. And then when it all finished, everyone's like, well, the ending sucked. And I was like, well, I guess I don't have to watch that show.
Well, and I said the whole time I was watching it, I don't know if the show is great until we get the ending for obvious reasons, and then we got the ending, and I was like, I still can't answer that question. I still don't know.
But I told my friend about maybe 6 months after Lost, not too long after Lost, like, because Lost disappeared immediately. Lost is one of the fastest disappearing phenomenons I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I told my friend, I was like, you watch.
And right after, we were trying to recreate it. While people were losing any interest in that idea at all.
When we get a little bit older, Lost will be a thing that is lost to time, except for film fans.
Yeah.
It will be a show that you will hear people, in 10, 15 years, people will talk about watching Lost when they were a teenager. It is going to be that thing that stuff was for George Lucas and Steven Spielberg and things like that. It's going to be a thing that's only going to be brought up by, like, people in the industry as a big influence on that.
Can I tell you why I think you're wrong about that?
Really?
I don't think you're right about that.
Okay.
Because I think it'll get rebooted.
Oh, no.
I think somebody will try to make it again.
No.
That's what I think will happen.
Don't do that. Hey, don't do that.
Well, you could improve on it, but the problem is, that show was made by those actors. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you know how they put that together. There was a, like, really, so they had a list of characters initially, and very few of the characters they came up with, and it was like vague descriptions, and very few of the characters that they came up with were exactly the characters that went up in the show. Mm. They basically invented characters from the ground up based on the people they hired. I mean, based on the people they cast.
I know Jack was really supposed to die in the pilot and stuff like that.
That's true. Hurley was just invented from the ground up. They just met that actor
really?
and loved him, and they created that character for him. If memory serves, it's been a while since I've looked into some of this stuff, but there were characters that were like kind of amalgamations of things that they had, and then they did the thing that happens a lot, of course, where somebody will come in and audition for one part and they get another part. But like Sawyer was not really what Sawyer was on the page. They kind of created him based on that actor. And I just always thought that was fascinating.
Sawyer just kind of disappeared.
He's in something.
He's not what people thought he was going to be.
No, and he's a working actor who's always a main character in a show, but he ends up in like TNT and TBS shit.
Mm-hmm. No, people thought he was going to be a movie star.
Yeah.
And the guy who played Jack
we thought that too. And he actually was in some movies. Mm. He was in Vantage Point. God, do I have issues with Vantage Point.
He was in Speed Racer.
He was in Speed Racer, yeah. And I thought that casting made Jack for sense.
In Speed Racer?
Yeah. I don't know if he's any good in that, but that was such a weird choice, I thought.
Really?
For that character. Yeah, that guy is Racer X, really? Really? Okay. I didn't see him playing a heavy. Like...
Racer X is not a bad guy.
Racer X isn't bad. I thought Racer X was a bad guy.
No, you must have never watched Speed Racer.
No, not
because
much.
Not
much. I thought Racer X was like the evil.
As the narrator will tell you, every time Racer X shows up, Racer X is Speed's older brother who died years ago, but didn't actually die. But everyone thinks he's dead. Well, no, and it's secretly come back. No, he's.
I knew all that, but I thought he was bad.
No,
I thought he was like the evil twin brother type.
No, he's
okay.
He's like the guy who shows up and they don't know.
I didn't watch enough Speed Racer. So he's just a mystery. He's a Quagmire guy.
We, the audience, know that he's a good guy and is always helping out Speed.
Oh,
but
okay.
he always seems like he could go either way.
I
loved Speed Racer as a child. I had a painting of Speed Racer that my parents bought on a cruise ship for me.
Wow.
Yeah, from 9 to 11, I loved Speed Racer. I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember a lot about it, but I loved Speed Racer.
Did you remember the Dexter's Lab episode?
Yes, I do. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
One of my favorite episodes. I still remember.
And suddenly we're talking like we're in a Speed Racer. Did you notice that? You notice that as soon as we started getting into Speed Racer, I'm like, yes, I did. I did watch that episode. It was great. It was my favorite thing.
And coming in first is Nectar. Yay! Yeah. Fall by trail melting lava. Yay! It's my favorite joke in that episode.
Pretty good.
Well, we're way past that.
Yeah, we sure are. Well, everybody, thanks a lot.
Way past cool.
Thanks a lot for watching. Yeah, I feel that way myself sometimes. Thanks for watching, folks. Sure appreciate it. We'll see you again in 2 weeks with more Geekvolution After Dark. And in the meantime, I am Captain Logan.
And I am Eric.
See you later.